Thanks for joining us today. This is our 6 o'clock makers panel, 3 o'clock for you guys on the East Coast. The panel is going to run for about 50 minutes. I think we're going to probably run for about 30 minutes so that we can have some Q&A before the end of the session. If you're just joining us, there's a chat room where you can chat with each other. And then we have our Q&A feature if you want to ask a question to any of the panelists or the whole panel. And we'll save those to the very end of the session so that everybody can kind of share and we can give equal time to all of our guests. So before we start there, let's do some introductions. I'll start. I'm Joanne. Some of you may know me from gearchick.com, which I've been using for about 10 years now, maybe 12 years, as my platform to talk about everything we're going to talk about and more, and to just share everything I've learned with you over the years. I've met a lot of you online, some in real life, and I'm here just to really hang out, learn, chat, kind of get to know some of the awesome ladies on the panel here. Some have not had the privilege of meeting in person. And you can currently find me working full-time at revzilla.com. If you live in Philadelphia or anywhere near there, I'm in the showroom there. And then when I have time after that, I help Elisa with fun events like this makers panel and other conferences. So, oh, and then I currently ride a 2012 Triumph Street Triple. That's my love right now, besides my husband. And when I have time, I try to ride as much as possible. So let's start with introductions, and we'll just kind of go around the room, and I'll call out your name and you can give out your intro, and then we'll go on to the next person. So why don't we start with Karleen. Since your mic's off, we'll start with Karleen. Karleen's the founder of Rova. So give us your spiel.
Yay. Hi, I'm Karleen Eberle. I'm the CEO of Rova. We make women's motorcycle gear. It's all CE rated, comes in sizes 6 through 22. And we really focus on curvy women, sizes 10 and over. I'm a fashion designer with over 10 years of experience. And I started Rova because I refuse to compromise safety for style. My mission is to empower women through fashion. And currently I ride a supermoto. It's a super custom Kawasaki KLX, and shopping for another bike. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome, thank you. Next we have Debra. Why don't we go to you? Debra Chin, founder of MotoChic Gear. Don't forget to unmute. There you go. How are you?
Good. Hi, ladies. How are you? It's great to be in good company. I founded MotoChic about 5 years ago because, like probably many of you, I was frustrated by the pink it and shrink it approach to women's gear. I'm based in the Bay Area. Right now I'm sheltering in place in Sierras, so it's really beautiful. There's some great riding here. I have a Aprilia Sport City 250, and I have a Piaggio MP3 400, so I'm kind of a scooter girl. And we design safe and stylish gear for women. My flagship product is the Lauren bag.
Awesome. All right, who's next? Gigi, why don't you step up and tell us all about yourself and what you got?
Hi, I'm Ginger, also known as Gigi. I am the founder, CEO, owner of Gigi Montrose Couture. And I can pretty much echo what every woman is going to say. I felt, as a female rider, I felt marginalized, that I didn't have a defined look. I didn't have a defined style. It felt like it was dictated by a man's uniform, and like the guy's style and everything was aesthetic was going on strong. I mean, it was like, okay, you guys look on point, but I want to ride with you. I don't want to look like you. I like being a girl. And so I love to solve problems, and I am a problem solver. And so I come from a design background, and I just sat down one day and I decided that what I wanted to bring into the marketplace was not only a feminine aesthetic, but you know, what does it all mean to create protective gear, and what does it mean to be a female rider? And I took the best of my life experiences and I put into my company. That's what I stand behind. And some of my female muses were my aunt, who was just a very feminine but powerful woman. You know, like she could change a car tire in, you know, full makeup and nails and be like, I just got to get it done. You know, she had that can-do attitude and spirit. And, you know, it was like, no matter what she did, it was like nails and lipstick on point. And then she's like, come on, let's go play softball or something. You know, I mean, she would just be that kind of gal. And women like Anne Margaret, who she, being a moto enthusiast, rode with Steve McQueen. And I had the opportunity to meet her, and she had such a presence and such a power. And I thought, you know, what's really important is to take that and put it into the body of what I do, and then build upon that. So that's what I wanted to deliver to other women riders, is to, you know, to encourage them to be that example, and to also identify one another of, you know what, yeah, this gal Gigi, she, you know, takes care of me. She has my best interest at heart, and she's doing everything for me. And that's what I've made my mission to do, because there are all these other strong women out there that have been there for me and have helped me in whatever capacity in my life. And today, being a motorcyclist, riding a Triumph Bonneville T100, I still have that same community of women. And so to me, this is a matter of paying honor to these women and serving them and being part of a really beautiful collective. And so that's what drives me. So thank you.
Welcome, Gigi. It's nice to virtually meet you. And lastly, we have Anya. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be among you all. My name is Anya Violet. I'm co-founder and designer for Atwyld. Atwyld was started in 2016. I'm also co-founder of an organization called Babes Ride Out, which is a women's motorcycle camp out and gathering. So a lot of the inspiration for Atwyld came from being immersed in that community and seeing, you know, thousands of women from all different walks of life on all different kinds of motorcycles with all different backgrounds, all coming together in one place, and just really seeing kind of the white space in the market that existed when it came to motorcycle gear. All of us in the same boat, we all saw the same thing, not enough options for women who ride. So it kind of stared us right in the face when you see thousands of women all in one place. So Atwyld, I always say it kind of had to be done. There just wasn't enough out there. So it was started in 2016, and basically we focus on women's riding apparel. So we saw a lot of really great, super beautiful technical gear on the top end of protection, but not a lot when it came to looking more like everyday street apparel. So we saw a lot of women at all different riding events, kind of sacrificing safety for something that's comfortable, something that fit them well, something that wasn't distracting when they were riding. So our goal with Atwyld is to make you feel like yourself when you're on your bike while still being protected and still having all the technical features. So that's really why Atwyld was born. I myself ride, I have 3 different motorcycles right now, but the one I ride the most is a dual sport Husqvarna FE 250. I do a lot of off-roading. So I am based in Southern California. So I actually live in the mountains outside of LA in San Bernardino County. some of the greatest challenges, so I'm just going down the list of questions, but some of the greatest challenges in starting a business is, well, there's 1,000 challenges, but I have a creative background, so my background is in design. But when you start a business, you also have to learn all different things that you never thought you'd have to learn, like accounting and legal, how to draft a contract, all kinds of stuff. So I'm sure we'll dive into all of that stuff. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into it that you maybe don't think that you are gonna embark upon when you first start your business. But yeah, it's great to see more options for women's riding gear out there. I think that we'll start seeing more and more. So we're just excited to be here and proud with what we've built with Atwyld over the past 4 years. Definitely seen, one of the questions was, what are some of our primary products? We've seen a ton of success on bottoms, so women's riding jeans. One of the hardest categories, I'm sure all of you ladies can vouch for how hard bottoms are, pants, and of any kind, for all different shapes and sizes. So quite a difficult category that we've been lucky enough to have quite a bit of success with. And one of the proudest things I can say about Atwyld is getting women to wear gear that don't normally wear gear, which there's a lot out there, men and women, that are easy to jump on their bike wearing just any old, denim pants and jacket. And our goal is to get those type of riders wearing something that's protective.
Unmute.
That would help if you could hear me. What I was going to try to say is, I think we all have that same mission, and we just all have very different approaches on how to accomplish that, which is great because we need that. We need the diversity. I think that also speaks to the industry as a whole. We need more women involved at all levels in the apparel industry, and everything top to bottom, from a retail salesperson like myself to a woman who actually knows how to design and make and manufacture product, not just someone who's trying to market to women riders. I think those are two very different distinctions, and it's really great to see the change, I think, in the last 10, 12, 15, 20 years, certainly. But in the 15 or so years I've been doing this, it's never been more, I think, prevalent to have this many women who are starting companies and who are working really hard to give us choices. So I think this is really, really great. We're getting lots of questions in the queue, which is great. I promise we'll get to those. So let's jump into some of the kind of other questions that I threw together. So for each of you, tell us about a little bit about the primary products that you manufacture and design. Like, what are like the 1 or 2 things that your company makes that you're the most proud of, that you think works the best, is maybe the best seller, just whatever you think is worth kind of the 1 or 2 shout outs that you think our audience would want to hear about. Debra, why don't you, do you want to go first? Or anyone can speak up and go first. Oh, Debra, you're on mute too.
Sorry about that.
I know it's a bad habit.
I know. I don't want to hear you heavy breathing in between. But I guess I started out with no design background, so I'm envious of you ladies who have that background and those skills. And I guess one of my things was that we're so multifaceted as women. You know, we do so much in the course of the day. You know, we're moms, we work, you know, we're friends, we're wives. And I couldn't find a bag that would kind of meet my needs on and off the bike. So I personally don't like to change, you know, my bag when I'm, you know, going here, going there. I leave stuff behind. But what I found when I went shopping is kind of a sea of black ballistic nylon and or Hello Kitty. So you know, I'm like, I don't want to look like a stormtrooper or a kid when I go into work, or you know, when I, you know, go shopping or I meet friends. So it kind of inspired me, and it started with, well, how hard could it be? And if I knew at the time, I might not have done it, but it's been, a great learning experience, a very vertical challenge. And I would say that I've had a lot of great feedback, not only from women riders, but women, professional women or travelers, because it's just that one go-to bag. And what's been nice is that what's been a double-edged sword is that a lot of the features are so subtle that people don't recognize that they're functional as well as fashionable. So, the use of reflective that, you can't really see because you don't look like a safety worker, or like interior lights on the bag. So I think that it really evolved based on our needs. So, going to meetups, just going to, different group rides and just trying it on the ladies and hearing, what works and what doesn't work. And that's really evolved my process, but it certainly wasn't linear. And that's, that's something that I have some battle scars, but also some really proud moments about.
Awesome. Yeah, I think maybe luggage is like the next field for women's accessories that haven't been conquered. I feel like luggage, like bags and gloves and footwear. We have an explosion of riding jeans, right? Thanks to Atwyld. We have this incredible generation of casual, stylish, protective wear, and that's amazing. But we like hands and feet. Can I get some hand and foot love? I still wear gloves that are 10 years old because I just am very picky about what I want to wear, Karleen, tell us about one or two of your most amazing products.
Oh, yeah. Well, first I want to say that I grew up riding with my dad in Wisconsin, and we'd go to these meetups and I'd see these beautiful, big, voluptuous women decked out in leather, tassels, you name it. And I really wanted to be that woman when I grew up. Still want to be her. So I make leather and textile, technical riding gear. I'm really proud of my pants. I've worked with women of all different sizes. Thanks, Joanne. I know you love.
I know,
right? And I love those Raven pants. I've got 3 different styles of pants: textile and leather. And so the winner of my crowdfunding campaign was the Falcon pants, and they're these super cool combination of textile and leather. Got cargo pockets, perforated leather. They're really pants you can throw on a beautiful spring day, go ride all day, just with your essentials on your person. Because if I'm not going to work, if I'm not doing 10 things, I don't need a bag. I need a little water bottle, my keys, that's it. So the Falcon pants are super exciting. I'm really proud of all of my leather work. My production team has 30 years of experience making leather and motorcycle gear. It's all they do. So my leather is exquisite. And this jacket behind me, I actually crashed and slid 3 car lengths in this jacket. It barely has a scratch on it. It really saved my ass, life, everything, just back in August. So yeah, I'm really proud of all my pants and jackets. But definitely check out the Falcon pants and Phoenix jackets on our website. Yeah. Oh, you're muted.
I'm muted. At the end of the panel, we'll share everybody's, I think Elisa has that figured out, all the links and information to all the products. So you don't have to worry about where to find everything. Yeah, Gigi, tell us a little bit about your core products and kind of your best sellers and what we should be looking at.
Awesome. Thank you, Joan. I have my 2 flagship products are Speed and Fearless, and they're both a 9-ounce denim with a polyurethane coating, fully lined front, arms, back in Kevlar, DuPont Kevlar, and it's fitted for the riding position, so it's comfortable to ride in. It's fitted It's got elements of couture, nods to like Christian Dior and Louboutin a little bit, just because, you know,
Why not?
right, exactly. And it just kind of evolved. It was an accident. And I used to work with a lot of top designers, and I thought, you know what, they were really instrumental in helping me in my design background. And the reason I say couture is that couture comes from, couture designers are like architects. So they build and they construct. And it was, you know, I've sat at the table with many designers like Jean-Paul Gaultier, Romeo Gili, Donna Karan, you know, on and on. And when we would do, you know, the looks for the runway collections and all of these things, you know, they would talk to us about literally the nuts and bolts of like how they built things. It's like, well, we ruched this here to get a base there. And, you know, so it was all about the building. And when I started out, I actually, the first thing I designed was a leather jacket. And because I couldn't find a manufacturer who would manufacture it to the specs and to protective guidelines, I had invested a ton of money into these leather jackets. I pulled everything out because I said, it's not good enough. I'm not doing fast fashion. I'm not doing just
Casual.
anything to put out in the market. And I'm a picky shopper, you know, it's like, if I'm going to buy something, I'm going to invest in something that is quality, you know, and something that will withstand the test of time, because like there are, you know, certain things that I have that they may be 10, 20 years old, but they always look good. They always hold up. And I feel, and again, it goes back to, I feel that that company respects me as a consumer, as well as the quality of products that they put out. And so that, you know, in addition to everything that I built into my company, that became important to me. And, you know, first and foremost, I didn't want to come into the marketplace trying to be all things to all people. I'm a little myopic. It's like, I want to focus.
You don't have the energy or the bandwidth to do everything for everybody. And I think that's also what's really awesome, ladies, about all the ladies on this panel. Every woman here has like developed a strong niche and a strong point of view.
Yeah. And that was, awesome. You know, and just quickly, that was, you know, what, if I can just do one thing right and at least conquer that, and then add on to the next thing, then, you know, I'm okay. So anyway.
Agreed. That's awesome. Anya, lastly, tell us about a couple of your core products.
Sure. Two of our core products. I did mention that pants have been really great for us. We have a range of pants that kind of offer a range of protection and a range of features, but I'm going to highlight the Voyager riding jeans that we make because quite honestly, they're our most popular pant, and it would be crazy for me not to talk about that. So they're a stretch denim, basically mid-rise black skinny jean that are lined with DuPont Kevlar and have removable D3O armor in the knee and the hip. So one of the biggest things you'll see from Atwyld always is versatility. So being able to remove the armor in case you get somewhere and you don't want to have knee armor in or hip armor in. We found a lot of success with that. Same as Karleen, I crashed. I was in a really bad accident and all of my gear and the Voyager jeans stood up definitely. And the D3O armor, which protected me from a lot of extra broken bones, so I'm very grateful. I think the reason they've been successful for us is they really look like regular black skinny jeans. So they don't necessarily look too much like riding gear unless you look closely. You can obviously see the armor and the stitching detail and whatnot, but have done really well with those. And the other thing I'm going to highlight is our Barricade armored shirt, which is actually a layering piece. So it's meant to be worn under any riding jacket, and it adds a layer of CE rated D3O armor. D3O armor is super flexible and soft, but upon impact, the molecules lock together, and it's CE rated for impact protection. Wear tested by yours truly. But what's so great about that style is you see so many women that love a particular riding jacket, or maybe they have their, grandfather's leather jacket that they've, passed down to them from generation to generation. That's not necessarily the most protective garment. And adding the D3O armor, the layering piece with the barricade armored shirt really gives kind of versatility. And like I said, versatility being kind of one of the number one priorities for us at Atwyld. We really want our products to transition nicely on and off the bike. So often are we going to a friend's house and riding there, or riding out to go to lunch, and we want women to feel comfortable and feel like themselves on and off the bike. So you'll see kind of a common theme is a lot of our stuff doesn't overly look like motorcycle gear necessarily, which, like you were saying earlier, like it's so important to have diversity and so many options out there. So there are a lot of riders that caters to, and then there are some that doesn't cater to. So I think it's just so important to have all of the options and the versatility. And a lot of our stuff is made in the USA, which we're very proud of. Yeah, so I'd say, yeah, the Voyager riding jeans and the Barricade armored shirt are the two products that I want to highlight today.
Awesome. Ladies, I want to know kind of what maybe your future holds, maybe like the next few years or couple years. What are some new products or gear, maybe other segments like off-road or dual sport or anything like that for all of you are you considering or you're thinking about? You don't have to spill secrets, but if you're planning. I saw a couple questions in the queue about, well, what other segments might be happening. Feel free, anyone, to answer that one. Yeah, anyone can answer? Ginger, your mic's off. Oh, Karleen, jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that you mentioned gloves and footwear. I come from like a fashion apparel background. And so learning how to design gloves and footwear is something I'm just starting. So that's why I did not start with those. But like I have giant feet and my hands are literally my livelihood. So I'm also very picky about what goes on my hands. So for me, that's what I'm excited about. Plus a couple other things. But to be totally honest, this global production shutdown is massive. And I think if we can all just like get through that together as an industry, that will be huge because it's impacting everybody one way or another, big or small. It's massive, and we just need to be healthy and keep our industry alive.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to chime in on like product development and ideas?
I'll jump in there. Joanne, you had mentioned gloves. We have been looking at that too. We have some gloves in the works right now that we're excited about. I think one of the things that we always focus on at Atwyld is the white space. Like, where is the category that we feel not enough options out there in the market? Gloves, there's actually a lot of really good gloves out there. So it was quite a task to design something that we felt like wasn't redundant and really had room and in the marketplace. But I'm glad a couple people mentioned off-road. Off-road's a huge passion of mine, and the other co-founders, Jamie and Corinne, as well. And we do have an off-road capsule. We have it's more of a dual sport focused pant that we designed that it was a collaboration with Shift Motocross. So we were super excited to work with them and kind of bring in the best elements of true motocross gear and some of the best elements of where we've had success in more street riding gear and kind of bring them together for what I really love. This pants, a dual sport pants made with Cordura denim, and it has leather panels and is articulated into the riding position, plenty of room for armor underneath. And then we always do a motocross jersey at Atwyld's. Always bringing in a cool motocross jersey. We just launched one about a month ago, and it layers really great over the Barricade armored shirt. So there's so many different options out there for armor when you're riding off-road. I found that our Barricade armored shirt works really well off-road because of the flexibility. You're sweating, you're moving quite a bit when you're riding a dirt bike, and that style's proven really well. I just got back from 4 days in Morocco riding and wearing that every day. So wear tested by yours truly once again. And yeah, off-road, huge passion, but kind of like Karleen was saying, a lot of those other categories like boots quite hard to delve into for small brands. It's such an investment to, I mean, I see all of you nodding your head. It's so hard to delve into a category like that. But I mean, goals for sure someday.
That's awesome. Gigi, you have anything you want to add to that?
Yes, that's such a great question, because this past year and a half, I went back, I reevaluated everything that I have in, that I have built as far as with the company. And like I said, what's important to me is the quality and the construction, as well as being one of the best products out there, and I'm very grateful and lucky to be amongst the best right now in this panel. So, it's not easy doing this. And so I've, not going to spill the beans just yet, but I, as soon as the shutdown is undone and we're able to get back out there, then I'm going to officially release some really amazing news that I've worked on for the past year and a half, almost 2 years, and always striving to be at that next level and produce quality. I will say that I've got some new fabrics that I'm working with and some new designs that I'm working with. And, going back to just doing one thing and doing one thing right, and then building upon that. So, it has that flexibility of, you can do off-road and go to dinner, at a nice restaurant with your friends or a concert, but having that flexibility. And probably because, truth be known, I'm lazy. It's like I get dressed once and that's the way I want to stay, and I don't want to think about, what I'm wearing or ruining something or what have you. I figure if it's made well, I should be able to change the oil on my bike, clean the chain, wash off my hands, and, go to dinner or meet up with some people, but I am excited. I will be talking a little bit about what I've got in the works, and I'm pretty proud of it. And it's been a real labor of love, and believing in not only what I'm doing, but providing you ladies with the best available. So coming soon.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for your input there. The one thing one question I wanted to ask everybody, and that I think a lot of us are somewhat interested in, is like, what are, try to name maybe 2 of the biggest challenges that you've had in your time building, developing, and growing your company, whether anything, or just 2 big things that for you, maybe that were just the hardest, or maybe took a little extra work to overcome.
I was thinking only 2.
I know.
Yeah, it's I can jump in here if y'all don't mind. Aside from working capital, which I think is always an issue just in terms of balancing your inventory versus, production. And then in particular, I had no design background like some of the other ladies. So that was definitely a challenge for me. And I see some questions coming up in the panel, like, how did you do that with no design background? And you sort of, start with your concept. So I don't know that this is the right way, but the way I navigated it is, working with somebody who could document my ideas on paper, do some sketching, going to prototype was really challenging. And this plays into like a related issue with production. So
you're saying that because you weren't a sewer or maker, that you had to find someone that could help you kind of visualize what you wanted to put together in order to maybe put together a prototype.
Right. And a lot of those things are a reality check, like you want a rounded zipper, but guess what? That's, more complicated than just having a straight zipper, or, having those garages on either end. Like, there's a whole vocabulary to it that, like, I just didn't have in my arsenal. So I knew stuff was not right, but I it's hard to really transfer that into a conversation with a producer. So really that process was challenging in terms of, from concept to coming up with sketches to coming up with a prototype that was going to work at scale. And once you have that going into production, I found incredibly difficult as a small volume producer, because first of all, you have to find somebody who has the capabilities to do it. And like the Lauren bag has over 30 pieces to the pattern. So it's not, just something you can sew and go. There's a lot of technical elements to it in terms of making sure that, you're getting the right quality, as Ginger has so importantly said, in terms of reflective. There's a range of reflective, and unless you take that out and you look at it and you inspect it under various conditions, like, you would know it just, looks all the same under flat light. So getting
It's a learning
producer,
curve. So you had
learning
a really
curve,
steep learning curve.
huge learning curve. Yeah.
And then the kind of added difficulty of not being a sewer or a maker. Karleen, you have a tremendous fashion background, but I'm surely there were other maybe struggles that maybe were harder for you and easier for Debra.
Yeah, I mean, I love that everyone's talking about quality, and I love a lot of the things that Gigi has said, because I come from a couture fashion background, like sewing bridal gowns. And so finding a manufacturer that could do the quality I demanded, but also like the sky is the limit for that manufacturer, and they have the latest technology, CE rated, finding that partner was a huge challenge. But I'm also, again, could rely on my fashion background. My first job in the industry was actually sourcing and buying. I love it. So I love going to trade shows, spending days and days and days talking to everybody from all over the world. So I really just hit the pavement, literally, until I found a manufacturing partner that I trusted, on a humanitarian level, on a technical gear capacity, on like a I get along with you, I like you, I want you texting me level. So finding that relationship was just, I mean,
similar, like partnerships,
epic.
the partnerships
Yeah.
and the infrastructure to support you. Gigi, did you have a similar struggles?
Oh my gosh. Yes, Karleen, same thing. For me, again, when I started this company, I started it on a foundation of principles and guidelines that I believe in or were inspired by. So, the moral, ethos of the company was what was established first. And that's what's been most important to me. And one of the hardest things was in starting out and in the beginning, relationships and partnerships are very important to me. Because at the end of the day, I work really hard, you work really hard. Let's kick our feet up and go, gosh, we did a great job. I in the beginning, I spent probably more money than I want to confess to developing my line, getting prototypes, working out problems to get substandard results. And I pulled,
is that due to, you think, the like manufacturing partners and the like those kind of partners that you had? Got it. So similar to Karleen, where you were trying to find people who would meet your level of expectation. Anya, do you also like share that struggle as well? And do you have a fashion background too, like Karleen and Gigi?
Yes. So I've been a fashion designer for like 12 years or something like that, a little longer than that, I suppose now. But yeah, so fashion background, but not in motorcycle apparel. So I always worked in like streetwear and action sports industry. So yeah, never designed and made motorcycle gear before. But same with the gals, it's really hard to find good manufacturing partners. Nobody loves your product as much as you do, and quality is just so important. So, one of the things that we really wanted to come out the gate was made in LA, made in the USA. which a good percentage of our product still is made in the USA and made in LA. But quite honestly, we had a really hard time finding good quality manufacturers in LA, which may be surprising to some of you. But some of the more technical stuff, Los Angeles or the United States, there's not always people that specialize that, or manufacturers that specialize that. So it's really about going to where you find good partners and where you find people that specialize in the type of product that you're trying to make. So that's kind of was a big challenge for sure, and continues to be a big challenge, especially because a lot of our stuff, we're combining fabrics that maybe don't always get combined. And so some manufacturers are like, wait, I can't imagine putting leather on something like that type of thing. But the other struggle that I want to touch on too is the platform for distribution for women's riding gear is getting better for sure. And we have a lot of amazing partners on the wholesale side of the business that we're super proud to be in their stores. And the other component being all the amazing events that happen around the country. Obviously, Babes Ride Out, I gotta say, I obviously love that as a platform, but the One Moto Show and all these other amazing events around the country that are really great platforms for, getting exposure to your product and stuff, kind of falls flat sometimes on the dealer level, or in some of the bigger.
That's a whole nother thing.
Or,
I feel
right, a whole other
like
ball.
a whole nother,
But,
whole other animal.
Yeah,
but it sounds like you share the same. Yeah, it sounds like that's a very common theme here. Finding the help and the partnerships that you need to be successful. I'd be curious, well, I'm just going to guess that the majority of those partnerships are male, or are they balanced for you? Did you find that you couldn't find any women who you could partner with who were experienced in those areas to help you be successful? Is it a pretty male dominated thing on that end as well?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
I wouldn't say necessarily overly male dominated in my experience.
That's cool. I was just curious, just because our industry, as far as manufacturing, it's male dominated. Men own everything. They own the brands, they own the manufacturers, they own all of it. And I hope we see a nice big shift again in the next 3 to 5 years. I want to hit a couple questions. We have so many questions. I'm sorry we can't get to all of them, ladies. I'm going to try to just breeze through some of the questions in the Q&A here. How do you deal with a wide range of female shapes, even with a single size range? Do you include stretch panels or zippers to provide adjustments? Do you have to carry a large inventory to cover all shapes? If we can get a little bit more, some simple answers on those from everybody, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's a great question, because again, it comes down to, this is the first time I think women have been asked, what is it that you want? What is it you need? And we're being heard for the first time. So because, nobody had been defining us, meaning, well, here you go. Here's a man's jacket made smaller. We put some pink on it because I'm sure you're not aware you're a girl, but, and it's like pretty aware, got it. Thanks. But for me, it was, for lack of better words, bulldozing in and saying, no, this isn't good enough. And this is, what I know as just a broad range of where I can fit in. But then listening to the market and asking women at shows, at events, send me emails on the street, wherever, send me emails. What are your concerns? What are your questions? Talk to me. Because if I don't know what the problems are, I don't have anything to solve, And so listening to what women's shapes are and what their frustrations are, and try to find what are the best solutions that, can still maintain the Gigi Montrose, aesthetic, as well as, keep the quality construction and make that consumer, happy. And
so data. So it sounds like information gathering and doing the research is really helpful. Karleen, what has helped you address some of the kind of swing and range and sizing? How do you address that?
Yeah, I mean, really similar to Gigi, you know, just talking to women, what do you need? But also I'm very strategic and analytic, and I've actually been collecting women's sizing data for the past 10 years in a massive
Nice.
spreadsheet. So I've done a lot of math to find, you know, and it's pretty interesting.
Can't go wrong with math.
Right? Math is amazing. It's pretty interesting. Like, we're all different shapes and sizes, but women who ride, we tend to have muscly legs, big meaty thighs, nice, you know, beautiful booty. Those are common things if you have all that strength in your lower body to hold your bike. And so that gave me a lot of good insight too, you know, just studying the anatomy. And then also, yeah, I do use a lot of different stretch function, you know, technical things, both panels, but also stretch fabrics, put in strategic non-impact zone places. Yeah, you got to have some adjustable tabs. But I think the really, really important thing is that nothing is one size fits all, and finding the brand that really fits you and finding the brand that caters like to your, you know, body type,
Yeah.
that's so important.
Yes.
And that's one reason I chose to focus on curvy women, especially like size 8 and up. And I've expanded my range based on, you know, demand from other women. So yeah, talk to us. We
So,
love to hear
well,
from you.
well, I think that speaks to finding the
Yeah.
niche, like
Yeah.
finding your niche woman, because you will never ever help
Yeah.
every single woman. And
Exactly.
it's great to have that selection.
Yeah.
Let's see, a couple other questions I wanted to like hold up room for like one more question. Someone is curious about your writing backgrounds and how long you've had the passion for bringing together the riding gear and motorcycling. Like, kind of how long ago, I guess, were you all swirling about this? Anyone throw in an answer? I don't know, Anya, you want to give us what's your kind of time-wise, like how far back were you thinking about this?
Sure. Well, I started writing when I was like 7 years old, so I've written basically my whole life. But and I've been designing since basically I got out of college. So I think that I always wanted to have my own line, and I never wanted it to be just like another clothing line. I kind of was always like, I don't feel like the world needs another clothing line. It wasn't until I was so deeply immersed in the women's riding community that I saw the need, and it really took me seeing a void for me to feel inspired to put my two passions together. When I saw how much white space and what a huge void in the market there was when it came to women's riding gear, that's when it was like, okay, this is the right thing. This is something that can really solve a problem in the world that, and you know, people so easily not paying attention to this large growing demographic of women riders. So that was when I realized, hey, guess what? I've been designing clothes my whole life, and I've been riding motorcycles my whole life. Like, why not put them together? So 5 years ago is when I finally realized.
That's awesome.
My, I guess I'll just jump in real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got 2 minutes,
minutes
so
left. Yep.
please be brief because I need to do a wrap up.
Awesome. Yeah,
how
just
long?
quick. My first motorcycle was a horse. I got up every Sunday morning and went horseback riding out into you know, the mountains, and you know, getting geared up to ride a horse was kind of like my ritual. And so that's what spilled into when I got a motorcycle, you know. So in short, the ritual of getting on, you know, my motorcycle is what inspired me, as well as having my own identity. And I've been street riding for 6 years, and had started off in dirt bikes.
Karleen, how long for you? Really quick.
Oh yeah, let's see here. I grew up riding with my dad, and then I finally was able to overcome a really terrible autoimmune condition and get my own license about 8 years ago.
Okay.
And then about 6 years ago, my friend was in a terrible, terrible crash, and it was a huge wake-up call, like gear up every time, no matter what. That friend's alive. He's good. But, you know, we really needed to see that happen to take gear seriously. And I started working on it like instantly. First time I went gear shopping, I was like, let's fix this.
And lastly, Debra, tell us how long.
Well, I was a full-on grown-up when I guess I'm still not a full-on grown-up, but I didn't end up swinging a leg over a bike till I was after 50. So when I started, riding as a passenger, I felt like there's nothing for me as an adult woman. Like, I wanted high-quality investment grade stuff that would, offer protection and would, stand the test of time. So I named the Lauren bag after Lauren Hutton because she's, 75 years old, still modeling, rode motorcycles in Hollywood. She continues to evolve. So it was about 5 years ago that, I started really thinking about how gear would integrate into my lifestyle, not only as a rider, but, everything else we do as women.
I feel so old. Okay. All right. This is my 18th year, I think, of riding. Elisa, how long you been? Like 20 some years for you?
I started in 95. I don't even know what
yeah.
that math is anymore.
Yeah, you're like our queen. Yeah, wow.
So no, there's
well,
ladies in the conference that have been riding lots more years than
Yes.
I have. But the point is, I started as an adult as well.
Yeah.
I just want to thank all of you makers. I've had so much fun talking with you, getting prepared for this. Thank you for giving us an hour of your time and being so generous with your discount codes for conference attendees. I did post the PDF in the chat on the right. I will also send that out to everyone tonight, and I will send it out again after Saturday night too, because we're still getting some last minute registrations. So look for that in your email. Thanks, Joanne, for hosting our Makers panel. I really appreciate you, and I know that you had to actually leave work early today in order to be with us. I appreciate that.
I had to swivel my desk
Still.
to the right because I work here.
I do appreciate you, and we have like 23 unanswered questions in the chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite all of you makers, if you can join the networking session tonight at 8. So that's not the presenter link. It's a different link. It's on the webpage /conference/attendees. If you have any problems, text me or Brittany, and we'll get you into that. So I'll invite you makers there. We'll also invite all you attendees to come in there, and then you can ask more questions. It's going to be more interactive. We won't be just talking at you. Everybody will be able to talk in there. So I need to wrap it up for the next presenters. Thank you so much, everyone. And yeah, you're awesome. Thanks so much for doing what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everybody.
You ladies.
Great to meet everybody virtually.